Welcome to the Good Pod Guide with me, journalist Lauren Windle. On today's podcast, I'm joined by the one, the only Felix from the GPG team. Sit back and relax while we help you find your next great listen. Today's podcast is Fake Doctors, Real Friends. It's a conversation between two people who are real friends. And obviously on this podcast, it's often just me. So I've dragged Felix from the Good Pod Guide team back on with me. Say hi, Felix.
Hey guys, how's it going?
I am going to take this opportunity to get Felix's advice about something because obviously I don't get this opportunity often. So Felix, here's my story of the day, right? I am staying with my sister because I live on my own and COVID pandemic lockdown has made that quite isolated. So I went over and stayed with my sister and thought, why don't I Airbnb my place out as like an extra source of income if the place is empty? Right, really sensible. So far, so good. But given that there are plenty of parameters at this current time, I've got to be really strict about checking why people are coming. So this weekend, had a guy in, he's working in London, absolutely no problem. I checked twice, like, are you going to have a guest round? Because that's actually not allowed. He was like, no, definitely not just me. I turn up to clean up, 6 champagne bottles in the bin, okay? Plenty of champagne flutes, lipstick on some, not lipstick on others. And I mean, he could wear lipstick, right? But I'm pretty sure that my home has now housed his like nefarious love den weekend.
It could have been just a really brilliant drag night. Well, you know, he could just be doing his drag takes for the new RuPaul Drag Race. You just don't know. He was getting into character, got carried away, you know.
I mean, it feels like a lot of champagne to have consumed on your own and to have drunk out of 6 champagne flutes and not just one also is quite damning evidence. Here's my question, though. This is what I need advice on. Do I write a negative review of him on Airbnb for what I assume was an affair? So potentially like crashing his family life down? Or do I just be cool and leave it?
I've been at the receiving end of this before and panicking about my reviews on Airbnb.
But did you turn someone's home into your love den?
No, but we did turn into a party den. But then again, there was a party going above us and it was in the middle of Shoreditch and, you know, it wasn't during lockdown. So I don't know. It's a weird one. I think we need to revisit this later on. We come out of.
All right. I've got a feeling that I'm about to unleash hell on his comments.
This is the changing point of it all.
Right. Thanks for indulging me with that. Let's talk about the podcast then. So, Fake Doctors, Real Friends is by Zach Braff and Donald. I think it's Faison. Have I said that right?
I mean,
Faison?
maybe.
Faison. I should have checked that before we started. But they are JD and Turk from Scrubs. What's really nice is that they have a genuine friendship, a genuine dynamic. This is a real bromance. And I like that that really comes through. Like, what were you thinking when you listened to it?
I thought the same. You know, it's really great to hear these two guys sort of coming together and revisiting these old shows. You know, just you can really feel the friendship, you know, as they're reminiscing on these episodes. And it's genuine. It's not forceful. It's just brilliant.
Yeah. And I should have said, so as Felix has just said, they take each episode of Scrubs and dedicate a podcast episode to that. And as we speak, there's 4 seasons, but there were 9 seasons of Scrubs. So there's plenty of longevity in the concept. I actually can't wait until, because I did used to watch Scrubs when it was like on E4 in the daytime. Or something. But I never like sat down and watched it from start to finish. I watched like episodes as and when they were aired. But what I loved was the season 6 episode that was a musical, and they haven't gotten to talking about season 6 yet, but I can't wait to hear them talk about that.
Well, it's all on Disney Plus now. So, you know, if you ever want to jump back on it, it's all back there. I saw it. I was like, oh my God, it's Scrubs. We're going to have to check that out now.
So throughout the podcast, they also have other members of the cast join them. And as a side note, right, I don't know if anyone's ever watched Cougar Town, but I'm pretty sure that Cougar Town and Scrubs had the same casting agent because like there's so much overlap in the actors who star on those. So I'll probably Google that later. There was also one quite serious episode that I listened to. I don't know if you checked this one out, but they addressed the fact that in some of the episodes of Scrubs, they featured blackface. And they spoke about the decision process to do that at the time. And then also to take those episodes down when Black Lives Matter highlighted for them that was racist and that was a really destructive thing. So they actually took the whole episode down, but I think their intention later on is to edit those scenes out and leave the episodes up. But I actually thought that was good. It was good that they faced that head on, that they had that discussion. They had the producer of the show on as well to talk about his process in that as well. And he took full responsibility, which is quite refreshing in a bit of a defensive world. So I enjoyed that. Were there any more lighthearted moments that took your fancy?
I was just listening actually before we jumped on this call, but just hearing about how Zach was when they first did the pilot. Obviously, he was still waiting tables. He was doing this. They were still so young and still doing their day jobs. And he said that when he got the money from the first pilot, he actually used that time. He thought to himself, I've lived on no money at all. I'm going to use this time now to just write, and that's what he did. And I think that's really inspiring to hear. You hear a lot of people going really crazy with the money, and he just took it upon himself, went, if I survive with nothing, I can survive off this comfortably and just write.
Oh my gosh, I love an origin story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there are 90 odd episodes, and at the moment they're about an hour and a half long. So there's plenty to sink your teeth into. But if you have a favorite episode, then it might be of Scrubs, then it might be worth digging out the equivalent episode of the podcast to find out a bit of the behind the scenes info from that. It is funny. They are genuinely funny. They do go off topic a lot. So if you're purely there for the Scrubs content, that could grate on you. But if you're a fan of the show, I think you'll enjoy it.
Absolutely.
In the next episode, I question the ethics of podcast S-Town as I review one of our most listened to stories. We've put all you need to know about the show on our website, www.goodpodguide.com. So go and check that out. And you can also follow us at Good Pod Guide on Instagram and Twitter.